every now and again, I will get a message in my comments section from one of my viewers or subscribers who will ask about Spider-Man. And, we'll talk back and forth in regards to what they're doing with Spider-Man, which is now just absolutely criminal. And the one thing that they all agree on is that whether they say, it was going downhill before, it went bad afterwards, I think they all agree that the One More Day storyline is one of the worst things that they did to Spider-Man. They got rid of his marriage to Mary Jane in an absolutely nonsensical way. And many of them have said to me that, they really wish that Marvel would just retcon it and all of this stuff. And I often say to them, I doubt that's going to happen. And they say, it might happen. But, well, if you were ever holding out hope that it was going to happen, allow me to be the bearer of some very, very bad news. Yep. If you were one of those hopefuls who were thinking that, hey, at some point, Marvel is going to get their heads out of their asses and figure out that, what people really want is Mary Jane and Peter Parker, Spider-Man back together again, like what they're doing in the Ultimate Universe. Well, no, I'm sorry to say that's not going to happen, because like I've stated before, that's not what they want. And well, turns out the Spider-Man line editor basically told a fan who requested that, they should retcon One More Day to go screw themselves. Let's dive into this article here from Bounding Into Comics. Marvel Comics Spider-Man line editor writes off fan who respectfully asked for a retcon of One More Day. Bold to claim that your view is one representing multiple millions of fans' viewpoint. Yes, because when you're that insane and you're sniffing your own farts that hard, why not? In what can only be described as a stunning display of anti-fan sentiment, Marvel Comics editor Nick Lowe recently responded to a Spider-Man fan who respectfully inquired about a possible retcon of the Wall Crawler's infamous One More Day storyline by telling them essentially to kick rocks. Now, this is something I have talked about many a time here. And I say this is one of the main reasons why the comic book industry is where it is, in the absolute freaking gutter. Because you have these editors, writers, people who work in these companies who are so completely removed from their fan base, so completely removed. I mean, they're not even registering on any kind of platform whether these people are actually their fan, but they're not registering it. They're literally not registering it at all. That's to tell you how removed they really are. They have no interest. They literally believe that, as a fan, you're just supposed to shut up and consume whatever they put out. They won't listen to you. They won't acknowledge you. They'll go to Comic-Con and smile big with you and pose for picture. But these people don't like you. And you see that every time they react to any fan telling them something, they will accept no criticism. They always right, you always wrong. That's it. If one were to ask almost any fan of Spider-Man's comic book adventures what single storyline they would retcon, and near unanimously the answer they'd give would be a resounding refrain of One More Day. Yeah, people have contacted me and said that numerous times. They need to change One More Day. One More Day has ruined Spider-Man and Mary Jane. It ruined Spider-Man's life because they took Peter Parker from who he was. He was a man who was married, was moving, he was doing things, and just turned him into this worthless cock. That's what they did. They just literally destroyed him because they always want Peter Parker to be broke, pathetic, and just waiting for life to come along and slap him in the face again. That's it. Penned in 2008 by then Marvel Comics editor-in-chief Joe Quesada out of his belief, listen to this, that a married superhero would be seen as unrelatable by younger readers. The entire 4-issue tale eventually concluded with Peter Parker trading his marriage with Mary Jane to Mephisto in exchange for the demon saving the life of his then critically wounded Aunt May. So yeah, they basically come like as the editor-in-chief Joe Quesada said that, our married superhero would be seen as unrelatable by younger readers because as far as they are concerned, Spider-Man must always be this everyman hero. He must never evolve to anything. His life must always be in chaos. He must always be running around broke, always trying to find out what to do, this struggling to get that done. There must be no stability. He mustn't grow because they want him to remain like that. Rather than they say, you know what, let's have Spider-Man grow and evolve so readers could actually appreciate that. So younger readers could sit down and say, here's this superhero Spider-Man who was so cool, and now he's married. Like, I think this is a good role model for what I want to do with my life moving forward. No, for common sense would dictate you do that with Spider-Man, and then you sit down, brainstorm, and bring in new teenage heroes that people would be interested in. And I do not mean a whole gaggle of Spider people that keep crawling out of their ass every week. We got Spider-Boy, we have Spider-Girl coming now, we have Spider-Woman, we have Miles Morales Spider-Man, we have this, we have Ghost Spider. I mean, what the hell is it with New York City, the water? Oh, everybody's a spider person, so. But this is the nonsense that they do. Of course, this decision to throw away one of the greatest romances in comic book history in order to presumably help ease Quesada's own midlife crisis went over like a brick, and in the years since, fans have continued to hold one more day as ground zero for the absolutely abysmal state of the web slinger's recent 616-based outings. Sadly, while fans have spent the last decade and a half begging Marvel Comics to either retcon the story outright or at the very least find a way to reunite Peter and MJ, just search the story's name on any social media platform and you're guaranteed to unearth an absolute trove of disappointment and outrage. Yes, I'm telling you, many people have messaged me. Many people have messaged me and said that they absolutely despise it. The publisher has continually shut down any and all attempts at discussing the matter because as far as they are concerned, they know what's best for Peter Parker Spider-Man. You, the fans who have loved this character for years, bought the comic books, invested time into it, you know nothing. You're supposed to shut up and consume, give them your money while they keep giving you crap. This is the difference, the main difference between manga and the North American comic book market. When it comes to manga authors and stuff, they actually listen to their fans. They enjoy interacting with them. They do story. That's the thing that people would be interested in. Here, they don't care. They don't care. You see them actively attacking people online if you even so much as dare say, listen, I don't think this color that you use for this suit looks good. No, they will blast you like it have no tomorrow. Yeah, this is the scene here. Nonsensical. For an example of just how averse the Spider editorial staff is to this idea, during his run on Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5, listen to this, writer Nick Spencer spent a good chunk of his creative energies rebuilding the pair's relationship and laying the groundwork for them to finally find themselves back in each other's arms. Yes, because at the end of Nick Spencer's run, you understand me, Peter Parker had the ring in his pocket. He was going to propose to Mary Jane again. They were good. They were getting back together. Fans were really good. And then along came Zeb Wells. But as soon as he left the book, one of the first moves made by his successor, current series writer Zeb Wells, was to not only rip the two apart yet again, but also spit on the corpse of their relationship by immediately throwing MJ into a relationship with quite possibly the biggest waste of time and space in Marvel history, Paul. Because everybody hates Paul. Everybody. And I am convinced Zeb Wells was told by the Marvel editorial staff, listen, we need you to break up Mary Jane and Peter Parker again. And that's why we got Paul. Because everybody hates Paul. Of course, despite the best attempts by Lowe, Wells, and the rest of the mainline Spider-Man team, fans have not stopped voicing their discontent with One More Day's continued in-canon status, with the letters pages of nearly every issue of Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6 featuring at least one message from a fan asking for someone to end their favorite hero's continual editorial suffering. People don't like to watch their heroes be turned into a waste of crap. You basically have it out there that Spider-Man is worse than dog shit. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You look at Spider-Man's life, Peter Parker's life, it's an absolute mess. Absolute mess. The guy is in his 30s. He's an established superhero and his life is an absolute joke. But this is what they think people want. Everybody is supposed to stop there and say, oh, you know what? Spider-Man is still 16 years old. Yeah, he's still 16 years old. Idiots. And though most of these sentiments are hand waved away by Lowe, off by way of, well, it's not for everyone. God, see, but we're going to keep on keeping on. The most recent issue of Amazing Spider-Man saw him respond to such a letter by outright insulting its author. Of course. As featured in the back of the series' 57th issue, a fan by the name of Nick from New Zealand took the time out of his day to voice his opinion to Lowe with the release of issue number 53. I feel that this arc is the perfect microcosm, a pure distillation of the problems with the creative direction and ideology behind Spider-Man ever since 2008. And as a fan, you are well within your rights to do this. This is why there is a page. This is why there's a fan page. They put it out there because they want to hear from you. And you write this letter talking about how this is a complete distillation of everything that's wrong with Spider-Man. And this and you're going to hear the crap. And this is what decided to let's put back onto him. Huh? He continues on. Peter has just turned evil for the third time in less than a year. Yes, that was really original. The second time in only 4 issues. And all I'm left wondering is, haven't I already seen this before? That's because you have. You've seen it before. This arc, hell, the whole run by Zeb, feels like we're just going round and round in circles, and that feeling extends to the nearly 500 issues prior to this moment as well. Very well said, sir. Very well. Nothing has really changed in Peter Parker's life in all that time, except for the fact he's become an even bigger cock. That's it. He's still just as much of a broke loser who keeps pushing away the people around him as he was immediately following One More Day. All the while, everyone else in Marvel gets to grow and change. Hell, even Venom is a responsible father now. Why isn't Peter allowed to see any developments of his own, like he had done for decades between 1962 and 2007? I speak for many millions of fans of Spider-Man when I say I'm disappointed with this creative direction, and it's why I'm so supremely happy with the new Ultimate Spider-Man book, because it feels like a true continuation of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr.'s ideals for the character and his growth. I really hope things will change soon, he concluded, and so do many others. And this is a perfectly fine letter. Everything in here is correct. Peter Parker's life is a waste. He's still as much of a broke loser as he's always been. There's been no development in his life at all. Everybody else around him is changing and nothing for Peter Parker. And he's quite right when he says that, he's speaking for the millions of fans who say that because millions of people are saying this. But when you hear the response, you will understand how truly deluded these people are. They hear only what they want to hear. They live in this Twitter echo chamber of people telling them only what they want to hear, and they won't listen to anybody else. And this is why the companies keep failing. Telling you if Disney and them didn't buy over Marvel, it would have gone down a long time. In response, rather than even trying to feign amicability or amicability or respect for his viewpoint, Lowe instead dismissed the New Zealand-based reader as essentially an outlier fan who had no idea what they were talking about regarding audience sentiment towards one more day. Yeah, I mean, it's not like if the guy is a comic book reader and a fan, clearly he knows nothing. He knows nothing. Idiots run there. I tell you, you have to really wonder. When you see the inmates start to run the asylum, you know something wrong. Okay, so he starts off here. This is how Nick Lowe, right? Hello, fellow Nick, and thanks for writing. That's how he began. Sorry, Amazing Spider-Man hasn't been doing it for you. As for the Peter turning evil, it was part of an ongoing story thread we were working on and only seemed to end in Amazing Spider-Man number 35. If it didn't work for you, that's a bummer. It worked for us and a lot of fans. And you hear the arrogance one time. It worked for us and a lot of other fans. You must put first, it worked for us, because that's who they write these books for themselves. Turning to the fans' bigger question, Lowe then asserted, would Stan and Steve and John want Peter's life to develop? I'm not sure and I can't speak for them. I certainly don't think they had a definite plan for such development, as they had no way of knowing this book would last decades past their time on the book. Oh my God, so he basically saying that the people who write the character actually don't want the character to have any development because they figure it probably wasn't going to... Jesus Christ, boy. I've come to think that Spider-Man, listen to this, growing, aging, and developing his life along with a reader in Amazing Spider-Man isn't the way to go. I believe that Spider-Man belongs to all fans and all generations and should mostly be as universally relatable as possible. So the best way to have Spider-Man universally relatable is to make him a broke loser whose life is a complete mess. Yes, that makes him very relatable. The arrogance is what gets me in. Why just mostly, he continued, well, we should still do stories like Superior Spider-Man Worldwide and Beyond that drastically change Spidey, but then come home to the core of Spider-Man. So basically, you should do Superior Spider-Man where Doc Ock took over his body, throwing a bunch of other nonsense nobody's interested in, but then come back to him being a broke, pathetic loser, right? That said, we at Marvel contain multitudes and have offered many stories of Spider-Man growing and aging beyond his archetype core, if that's more your thing. So basically, they have different alternate reality versions of Spider-Man where he grew up and all this stuff and like that. Like even with his daughter in the future, when Peter had retired after he lost his leg and all of that, yeah, that's for you. But with the mainline Spider-Man, that's not for you. God, And it was here that Lowe would fully hand control over his driver's seat to his ego. Listen to this, Turning to the fans' claim that millions of fans wanted the storyline retcon, the editor dismissed, I do think it's bold to claim that your view is one representing multiple millions of fans' viewpoint on how Amazing Spider-Man should work as a comic with no way to prove it, but you do you. You absolute ass. Forgive my language, but you absolute ass. This is not some bold claim. People have been saying this for years. You know that, but you refuse to listen because you don't care. That's the whole thing. You don't care. You write Spider-Man for you, not for the fans. So come on, it's a bold claim. You're an absolute ass, and I'm not even going to apologize anymore for that. You're an absolute ass. From there, drawing his response to a close, Lowe ultimately declared, regardless, I'm glad you're enjoying Ultimate Spider-Man. I love that book too. Jonathan Hickman and Marco Cicchetto and company are so good. Ay, boy. For those looking for any light at the end of this Spider-themed tunnel, the good news is that Wells' current awful run on Amazing Spider-Man is officially set to come to a close on October 30th when his final issue number 60 hits store shelves. Yeah, that's the only joy you have there, people. Because as far as they are concerned, you're never getting Spider-Man and Mary Jane back together again. Like I've said, for those who are holding out hope that they were going to retcon one more day, I am very sorry, it's never going to happen. They said so before that they were not going to do it. And listening to this absolute and utter Neanderthalic moron who would come in the chat and talk to an actual fan like that confirms it to me. These people at Marvel don't care about anything other than what they want. This is why they continue to destroy Spider-Man's life. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.